Hi, this is Dr. Justin Marchegiani here, and today's talk is going to be on calorie quality versus calorie quantity. So again, most people are not able to distinguish between calorie quality and quantity, and I want to make it perfectly clear how you can look at calories in a whole different way and choose calories that are actually going to be nourishing for you. And again, you don't even have to put the focus on calories. If you're just eating real food, if you're putting your focus on whole, real foods, you're going to be in a much better place. And calories, for the most part, are taken care of if you're focusing on whole, real foods. Now, when you're focusing on edible food-like substances, substances that, are made in a lab or a plant and packaged up and marketed to the public for consumption, then you're in a whole different place in regards to calories on that level. But we're going to go over how to differentiate calories. And first, let's talk about what a calorie is. So a calorie is nothing more than a unit of energy. It's the amount of energy it takes to heat 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius. So it's just looking at heat and energy. The reason why I am not a fan of calories, it does not distinguish or differentiate food. Meaning people can market and promote junk food and sodas and edible food-like substances without saying, is this good or bad? They can just put the focus on calories and just say, well, as long as you're balancing your calories, or if you eat too much, just cover it over with exercise, that you're going to be okay. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And that has gotten many people in trouble. So I want people to be able to look at calories in a different perspective so they can look at them from their qualitative side of what the calorie actually brings to you besides energy, because it actually has to bring to you a whole bunch of other things that we'll talk about in a bit. So what's in a calorie if we're eating whole food substances? Well, again, we have micronutrients, we have macronutrients, we have the calorie in the middle, and we also have toxins. So we actually want to make sure the calories we're choosing are low in toxins and are high in the micro and macronutrients. And we're going to break this down and make perfect sense of it. So my biggest problem with calories are a couple things. They don't take into account food quality, so they're not taking into account nutrient levels. They aren't taking into account satiation signals. So our body makes hormones like leptin and ghrelin and peptide YY and adiponectin and cholecystokinin. These are all big, fancy hormonal terms. These hormones essentially shut down our appetite. They cause us to be full. And the problem is certain calories cause us to be full, while other calories actually cause us to eat more and deprive us of being full. So if we don't look at calories that are causing us to be full, then we're going to be on this roller coaster of constantly eating and eating and eating and never feeling full, and then constantly having to feel like we have to count our calories and use willpower all the time. The best setup for success for a patient is to eat in a way where you feel full and your willpower doesn't have to be used at every single meal. Also, hormonal impact is vitally important because your hormones control how you burn fat. They also help control satiety, and they're going to keep your metabolism higher, so you're going to be able to burn more fat for fuel throughout the day. And that's vitally important because this allows you to be burning fat throughout the day, not just in the gym. So this allows you to work out less while still keeping your body fat down and your muscles pretty toned. Also, food allergens. Especially in today's day and age, where foods are genetically modified and we have excess amounts of grains being promoted, we have lots of food allergens, and food allergens are not taken into account by looking at the calories on the back of the label. If you look at the ingredients label, or if you're eating foods that don't contain an ingredients label, like whole foods, such as grass-fed meat, there's no ingredient label on the back, it's just grass-fed meat. Or if you're eating a green apple, it's just a green apple. There's no ingredients label. There's no marketing behind that. Also, toxins, BPA, phthalates, different pesticides and herbicides and fungicides, rodenticides, all these chemicals that are being put on even whole food products. That's why it's important to go organic, because a lot of these pesticides and chemicals have an effect at lowering your thyroid. They can affect reproduction, and they can also affect blood sugar stability, which are vitally important. If these things are thrown off, that's going to make it harder for you to burn fat and to maintain a healthy weight. Also, inflammation. Foods are either going to be pro-inflammatory or they're going to be anti-inflammatory. They're either going to stimulate inflammation, they're going to stimulate your body to make cortisol and C-reactive protein and different cytokines, interleukins that cause our body to break down faster, or it's going to support anti-inflammation. It's going to support our omega-3 pathways. It's going to support healthy levels of glucagon and insulin. It's going to support growth hormone. It's going to support progesterone and healthy thyroid levels that are going to make our body more apt to build up faster than we break down. We're hitting the brake faster than we're hitting the gas, which allows us to maintain healthy aging. And also blood sugar. If our blood sugar is ebbing and flowing throughout the day, our mood's going to be ebbing and flowing. Our ability to focus and concentrate, our ability to burn fat's going to be ebbing and flowing as well. So calories don't take into account any of these things. And the food industry, frankly, doesn't want you to look at these things, because once you understand these things, you can pick food out that's better for you, that's going to allow you to feel better and put the control back on your hands, because most of our recommendations on food are about selling you something, not about giving you the ability to choose things healthy for you. Macronutrients are really important. So there are three major macronutrients. We have proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. So if we're eating meat, for instance, we're going to get a good balance of protein and fat, and we're going to get lower amounts of carbohydrates. Now, frankly, when we're eating a lot of junk food, what we're going to be getting is higher amounts of carbohydrates, and the fats that we're going to be getting are going to be higher in trans fats or refined vegetable fats such as soybean oil and canola oil. So anytime you're eating an edible food-like substance, something that's packaged, for the most part, generally speaking, you're going to get higher amounts of carbs, you're going to get higher amounts of bad fats, not healthy fats, such as trans fats are going to be the bad ones, and the partially hydrogenated oils, and you're going to get lower amounts of protein. So the macronutrients are going to be skewed in bad calories, and this is going to cause us to eat more junk food. Micronutrients are super important. When we're eating food such as, let's say, an apple or a handful of berries or some grass-fed meat, we're getting higher amounts of vitamins. So if we're eating something such as grass-fed meat, we're going to be getting higher amounts of vitamins. We'll be getting higher amounts of fat-soluble vitamins such as vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K. We'll be getting higher amounts of minerals. We'll be getting essentially zinc and calcium, magnesium. We'll be getting probiotics. Let's say we're eating fermented vegetables such as kimchi or sauerkraut or maybe even some raw milk. We'll be getting beneficial bacteria. And then also antioxidants from a lot of the fat-soluble nutrients. We'll be getting it from the various carotenoids in our vegetables and some of our lower glycemic fruit products. So we have all kinds of good things coming on the micronutrient side as well. And also, we're trying to eat foods that are low in toxins. So we're trying to eat foods that are organic, because we could be eating the same grass-fed meat up here that may be conventionally grown with pesticides and chemicals and hormones, and it may have a lot of these compounds in there. So calories don't distinguish the quality of the food. Is it organic? How was it fed? Was it fed a natural diet of grass? Was it fed corn? Was it fed grains? Was it given a whole bunch of antibiotics and steroids to grow faster? So we have to take that into account on the toxin side. So we want to make sure the food is not being raised with pesticides. We want it to be not genetically modified, because that's a giant experiment with the longest studies out there, frankly, on humans are less than a month, which that does not instill a whole bunch of confidence in me. Also, gluten. Gluten's a pro-inflammatory compound that a lot of people are having issues with and are causing leaky gut or gastrointestinal impermeability. Lectins are gut-irritating compounds that can create leaky gut and create inflammation in our gastrointestinal tracts. Casein, which is a protein in a lot of dairy products, especially refined milk and conventional dairy and such. Casein's very pro-inflammatory. A lot of oxalates and phytates, potentially in beans or even vegetables that may not be lightly cooked, are going to have higher amounts of oxalates and phytates, which can bind up minerals and create inflammation. If we're eating a lot of factory farm meat, we're going to get higher amounts of omega-6 to omega-3. So omega-6 fatty acids actually feed the pro-inflammatory arachidonic acid pathway, which creates more inflammation. And then when we eat more omega-3s, or at least a healthy amount of omega-3s, primarily from wild-caught fish and grass-fed meat, we're going to have better omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, and that's going to allow us to feed more into the prostaglandin 1 and 3 pathway, which are anti-inflammatory, which will help us put out the fire. So I hope this video gave you some good information so far on how to look at calories from a different perspective. And just so you know, when you're eating the right calories, Or when you're eating the wrong calories, we talked about hormones. When we trigger the wrong hormones, when we take insulin and cortisol and leptin out of balance, we're shunting those calories towards our fat cell. So you can see here, instead of burning our fat cells by our mitochondria, we're actually taking our calories and we're shunting it down to our fat cells to store. So instead of burning it, we're shunting it for storage. And you can see all those calories, the kilocalories there in the K, actually go towards the fat cell. And so when we take into account with our new philosophy after watching this video, we're going to be looking at calories from a qualitative perspective. We're going to be able to choose healthy calories from whole food sources, primarily healthy fats and proteins from animal products, getting our carbohydrates primarily from vegetables and maybe lower glycemic fruits and healthy starches. We're going to be able to turn on the hormones up here, such as glucagon and hormone-sensitive lipase and lipoprotein lipase and epinephrine and even thyroid hormone too. And that's going to start shunting our kilocalories to our mitochondria and burn the energy up via our cells. And that's really important. So I hope this video kind of gave you a new perspective on calories and how our body actually compartmentalizes, partitions, and burns calories based upon the signals those calories provide. For more information, feel free and check below the video to get access to our blogs, YouTube channels, and Facebook page. Thanks for viewing.